The grand palace of the Zetherian Empire floated like a jewel in orbit around the gas giant Velora. Its walls shimmered with crystalline patterns, reflecting the soft light of the distant sun. Inside, the hall was vast and imposing, filled with floating platforms that served as balconies for the alien nobility. The air buzzed faintly with energy fields, holding the massive chamber together, as though the palace itself were alive. Princess Vyra, heir to the Zetherian throne, stood at the highest platform, her presence commanding attention. Her skin shimmered in pale silver tones, eyes a bright violet that seemed to pierce through anyone who dared meet her gaze. She wore the ceremonial armor of her people, light yet glowing with a faint energy, emphasizing the sharp lines of her form. Her reputation for unmatched combat skill was well known across the galaxy, yet her pride was greater than her skill. Below her, a small group of humans entered the hall. They looked fragile compared to the towering Zetherians, with their pale skin and comparatively weak forms. Their uniforms were plain, practical, and far less flashy than the ceremonial attire of the aliens. Among them walked Captain Elias Kane, tall, lean, with an aura of quiet confidence. Unlike the Zetherians, his strength lay not in raw power but in endurance, adaptability, and intelligence honed through years of harsh training on human worlds. Vyra's violet eyes swept over the human delegation. A slow, mocking smile spread across her face. "So," she said, her voice musical but laced with disdain, "these are the representatives of the fragile human species? Tell me, Captain Kane, do you call yourselves warriors? Or is bravery just a story you tell each other to sleep at night?" The hall erupted in alien laughter. Humans were not supposed to survive even basic combat drills compared to Zetherians, let alone enter their palace as equals. Yet Elias remained calm. He did not flinch or respond immediately. He let the princess speak, studying her posture, noting her arrogance. Vyra stepped closer to the edge of the platform, her shadow falling over the humans. "I hear you survived the battle on Epsilon 9, she continued, her tone dripping with mockery. "A handful of humans barely making it through. Your species is nothing if not persistent. Yet, persistence is no substitute for skill. Show me, human, what your bravery truly is." Elias finally spoke, his voice steady, carrying a tone that cut through the laughter. "Persistence is only the beginning. We survive because we adapt, Princess Vyra. We face challenges head-on, no matter how impossible they seem. We do not rely solely on strength or technology. Sometimes, courage itself is the weapon." Vyra tilted her head, intrigued but amused. "Bold words, for a species I have always considered weak. Do you truly believe courage alone will impress my court?" Elias did not reply with words. Instead, his eyes scanned the hall, seeing the floating spectators, alien nobles, advisors, and warriors, all waiting for him to fail. He felt the weight of every gaze, yet he stood taller, shoulders straight, calm and resolute. "Perhaps a demonstration would be more convincing," Vyra said. She raised her hand, and a platform descended into the center of the chamber, forming a glowing arena. The floor pulsed with energy, designed to withstand even the heaviest Zetherian strikes. "If you are truly brave, human, you will step forward and face me in combat. One strike will decide if your species has any merit at all." The court murmured. Some Zetherians expressed excitement, others pure confidence that the human would fail. The humans exchanged worried glances, but Elias only nodded once, silently accepting the challenge. "I will face you," he said simply, stepping into the arena. Vyra's smile widened. "So be it. Let the court witness what humans truly are." The arena was charged with energy, a silent hum vibrating through the air. Spectators floated closer, their eyes fixed on the unfolding duel. Elias stood in the center, relaxed but alert, observing Vyra as she took her combat stance. Every line of her body radiated skill and precision. Vyra moved first, a blur of motion. Her strikes were fast and elegant, almost artistic. A dance of calculated power. Each move could have shattered bone or sent a weaker opponent flying. Elias responded not with matching speed, but with careful positioning, blocking where necessary, and using momentum to redirect attacks. He relied on timing and observation, rather than raw strength. The court gasped at the human's endurance. A few whispered among themselves, questioning if he had been trained in secret. Vyra's brow furrowed slightly. He was better than she had expected, not fast, but clever, and unnervingly calm under pressure. "You rely on tricks, human," Vyra said, a hint of irritation in her tone. "Strength is not a strategy. Skill is. You will tire, and then I will end this." Elias shook his head slightly, barely moving. "Courage is more than tricks. Sometimes, the simplest move is the strongest. Sometimes, resilience itself becomes the weapon." Vyra laughed softly, a musical yet sharp sound. She struck again, faster this time, her movements a series of unpredictable attacks. Elias dodged, rolled, and countered subtly, never directly matching her strength but always staying within range. The hall watched, tense and silent, as the human endured blows that could have incapacitated anyone else. For every strike Vyra delivered, Elias adapted. He used her momentum against her, stepping aside and letting her force carry her past him, then pivoting to counter when an opening appeared. The human's intelligence and awareness became evident. His calm under pressure, more impressive than sheer strength could ever be. Vyra paused briefly, assessing her opponent. She realized something unsettling. This human was not afraid. Unlike many species she had faced, Elias did not flinch or hesitate. Every move he made seemed deliberate, calculated, and confident. Her violet eyes narrowed. She had expected fear, weakness, and a quick victory. Instead, she saw something far more dangerous, unyielding resolve. "You are different," Vyra admitted, her voice quieter now. "Perhaps humans are not as weak as I believed." Elias gave no reply, only a measured nod. He could feel the shift in her demeanor. The duel had already begun to teach a lesson, not just to the court, but to Princess Vyra herself. Time seemed to stretch. The duel continued with precision and caution. Every strike, every dodge, every movement was scrutinized by the spectators. Yet Elias did not tire as Vyra expected. He adapted, anticipated, and endured. The princess's strikes grew sharper, faster, yet the human remained unbroken, unwavering. At last, Vyra stepped back, breathing lightly but with visible tension. "Impressive," she said softly. "I underestimated your species. Humans. You survive against impossible odds. You endure. You adapt. And you fight, even when the outcome seems certain." Elias finally spoke, voice calm and measured. "We have no choice but to fight, Princess. That is how we survive. That is how we thrive. Bravery is not about the strength of one strike. It is about facing the impossible and continuing, no matter the cost." Vyra studied him closely, her violet eyes wide with curiosity and something close to respect. "Perhaps," she said slowly, "your courage is a weapon I have never faced before." The arena hummed with anticipation. The court of Zytherians was silent, stunned by the human's resilience. A murmur ran through the spectators. For the first time, many of them saw humans not as weak, fragile beings, but as creatures capable of endurance, intelligence, and courage that rivaled even the finest Zytherian warriors. Elias lowered his stance, ready but not aggressive. He had made his point. He had survived the first phase of the challenge and proven that humans were not to be underestimated. But he knew the true test was still ahead. Vera's lips curved into a small, thoughtful smile. This duel is not yet over, human. But you have already shown something remarkable. Perhaps your species has value beyond what I imagined. Let us continue. Let us see if you can back your courage with action. As the hall quieted, the tension in the air was palpable. The next phase of the duel would determine not just the outcome of the fight, but the respect humanity would earn across the Zetherian Empire. Elias Kane stood ready, calm and determined. Princess Vyra, once certain of her victory, now faced a human unlike any she had met before. The arena glowed softly as the energy beneath the floor pulsed in anticipation. The silence of the court was almost deafening, each alien spectator holding their breath. Princess Vyra, once full of arrogance, now stood with a flicker of curiosity in her violet eyes. The human, Captain Elias Kane, remained calm, his stance steady. Every muscle coiled like a spring, ready to act. "You have endurance," Vyra said, her voice carrying across the arena. "But endurance alone cannot win. You will need more than courage to defeat me." Elias met her gaze steadily. "I do not intend to defeat you through endurance alone, Princess. I fight with strategy, with observation, and with determination. You may be stronger than me, but that does not mean victory is yours." Vyra's smile returned, sharper and more confident than before. "We shall see." Without another word, she lunged forward. Her movements were almost too fast for the eye to follow, a blur of silver and violet energy. Each strike was precise, intended to end the duel quickly. But Elias did not panic. He dodged, parried, and countered with careful timing, relying on technique rather than strength. His movements were simple, but they were effective, and each dodge seemed to frustrate Vyra. The court watched in stunned silence. Many aliens had never seen a human move with such confidence against a Zetherian warrior. To them, it was inconceivable that a human could endure and respond to their attacks so skillfully. Vyra tilted her head, assessing Elias carefully. He did not match her speed or strength, but his intelligence shone through. Every time she attacked, he seemed to anticipate her moves, adapting with clever counters that required minimal effort. She could feel a twinge of irritation. No, not irritation. Admiration. A feeling she had rarely experienced toward any opponent. "You are clever," she admitted, striking again, faster and with more precision. Most humans would have faltered by now. Most humans would have broken. Elias dodged the strike and stepped closer. "Perhaps most humans," he said calmly. "But we do not survive by being like most. We survive by being stronger in ways that are often overlooked. Strength is not only muscle and power, it is courage, intelligence, and persistence." Vyra's eyes narrowed. His words were true, but they also carried a weight she had not expected. The human's calmness, his unwavering gaze, and his ability to adapt made her realize that she had underestimated him. For the first time, she felt a spark of uncertainty. She attacked again. This time, a series of rapid, flowing strikes that could have shattered bones and armor alike. Elias dodged and rolled, using her momentum against her. With each movement, he demonstrated that human ingenuity could match Zetherian skill in ways she had never considered. The crowd of aliens leaned forward, whispering among themselves. Some of them had started to doubt Vyra's earlier judgment. Could it be possible that a human so small, so fragile compared to them, could hold his own in combat against the princess? Vyra paused for a fraction of a second, her mind racing. She realized that brute strength and skill alone were not enough to win against Elias. His movements were deliberate, intelligent, and fearless. He was not fighting blindly. He was analyzing, adapting, and exploiting openings. "You are not just enduring," Vyra said, her voice softer now, almost thoughtful. "You are learning. You are adapting. That is rare, even among the greatest warriors of my people." Elias's lips curved into a faint smile. Adaptation is survival, princess. Humans face challenges constantly. We do not rely solely on strength or weapons. We think, we endure, and we act when the time is right. Vyra's violet eyes widened slightly. She could feel the truth in his words. Her pride had made her blind to a fundamental human trait: their ability to endure, adapt, and overcome in ways that were not immediately obvious. She had thought victory was guaranteed, but now she realized that the outcome was far from certain. The duel intensified. Vyra struck with all her skill and speed, each attack a precise test of Elias's reflexes and strategy. He dodged, blocked, and redirected her energy, moving with calm efficiency. Each counter was subtle, yet effective. Every time she attacked, he found a way to stay one step ahead, not by matching strength, but by using his mind. Elias's focus never wavered. He could feel the strain building in his muscles, but his resolve remained unbroken. He knew that this duel was about more than skill or victory. It was about proving that humans could stand as equals among the stars. Vyra attacked again, faster and more aggressively than before. Her strikes came in a blur, intended to overwhelm him. Elias dodged, rolling under a sweeping kick, and used her momentum to shift her off balance. He moved swiftly, a single calculated step, and struck her arm with the flat of his hand. The impact was enough to surprise Vyra, forcing her to step back. The court gasped. No human had ever made contact with the princess during a duel of this kind. Elias had not defeated her, but he had demonstrated that humans were not to be underestimated. Whispers of astonishment spread across the floating platforms. Even the Council of Elders exchanged surprised glances. Vyra's eyes glimmered with something new: respect. You are unlike any human I have encountered," she admitted. "Your courage is remarkable. I underestimated you." Elias nodded, staying calm. "Bravery is not measured by strength alone. It is measured by the willingness to face impossible odds, to endure, and to continue despite fear or pain. Humans survive because we do not give up." Vyra studied him carefully. For the first time, she realized that her assumptions about humans had been completely wrong. They were not weak. They were not fragile. They were clever, adaptable, and relentless. Their bravery was not a show, it was real, born from generations of surviving harsh conditions and impossible challenges. She lunged again, this time with a series of rapid, unpredictable strikes. Elias dodged and countered with subtle precision, avoiding injury while keeping her off balance. Every movement demonstrated his intelligence and awareness. He did not need to overpower her. He only needed to outthink her. The duel reached its peak intensity. Vyra's attacks grew more precise and forceful, each one testing Elias's limits. Yet he remained calm, observing, learning, and striking at the perfect moment. The princess realized that this human was not just enduring. He was teaching her a lesson. "You are extraordinary," Vyra admitted, stepping back to catch her breath. "I believed humans were fragile, weak, incapable of true courage. But you have proven me wrong. Your species has merit beyond what I imagined." Elias lowered his guard slightly, acknowledging her words. "We all have strengths, princess. Humans survive not because we are the strongest, but because we endure, adapt, and fight for what we believe in. Courage is our greatest weapon." Court. Vyra's expression softened. The arrogance that had defined her for so long was giving way to understanding. She had underestimated humanity, and now she saw their true power not in muscles or weapons, but in their hearts, minds, and resilience. The court remained silent, witnessing a historic moment. For the first time, Zetherians saw a human not as a weak species to be dismissed, but as a creature capable of matching their skill, endurance, and intelligence. The whispers grew into murmurs of respect. Aliens who had doubted humans began to rethink their assumptions. Vyra stepped forward, her voice carrying across the arena. "Captain Kane, you have shown more than courage. You have shown wisdom, adaptability, and determination. You have proven that humans are not to be underestimated. The court has witnessed your skill, and I acknowledge your strength." Elias nodded, remaining humble. "Thank you, Princess. I fight not for glory, but to prove that humans can stand as equals. That is all." Vyra's eyes softened further, a spark of admiration in her gaze. "Perhaps your species is more remarkable than even I could have imagined. It is rare for someone to teach me a lesson in bravery and skill." Elias's expression was calm but firm. Bravery is not about defeating one person or species. It is about surviving, adapting, and continuing to grow. Humans do not fear challenges. We embrace them. That is how we survive. That is how we thrive. The princess looked at him, her violet eyes reflecting thought and contemplation. She had spent her life believing her people were superior in every way. Yet here was a human smaller, weaker by all physical measures, who had endured her strikes, outthought her strategies, and shown courage beyond measure. She had been wrong. "You have changed my perception," Vyra admitted softly. "Perhaps humanity deserves more respect than I ever gave it. Perhaps your species is capable of greatness that even we cannot predict." The energy in the arena pulsed gently, as if the palace itself recognized the significance of the moment. The court of Zetherians was silent, watching history unfold. Humans had earned recognition not through brute strength, not through flashy weapons, but through intelligence, courage, and the will to endure. Elias lowered his stance fully, ready for whatever came next. The duel had already proven a point. Humans were not weak. They were clever, adaptable, and brave. The princess's respect had been earned, and the galaxy had witnessed it. Vyra studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "This duel is far from over, Captain Kane. But you have already shown that humans are not what we believed. You have proven that courage and intelligence can match strength. That is a lesson I will not forget." Elias remained calm, his chest rising and falling steadily. "And it is a lesson that humanity will continue to teach, Princess. We survive, we adapt, we endure, and we fight when it matters most." The court erupted into whispers, then applause, as aliens began to understand the depth of what they had witnessed. A human had stood toe-to-toe with their most skilled warrior and endured. He had proven that courage, intelligence, and resilience could rival even the mightiest of alien powers. Vyra's violet eyes softened further, a smile tugging at her lips. She had learned something invaluable. Never underestimate humanity. Their bravery was real. Their courage was unmatched. And their potential was limitless. The arena pulsed with energy. A quiet but powerful acknowledgement that the duel had changed everything. Humans had proven their worth, not just to Princess Vyra, but to the entire Zetherian court. And Elias Kane had done it with nothing more than calm determination, clever strategy, and the unwavering bravery of a human warrior. The arena pulsed with energy, a subtle hum filling the grand hall as spectators leaned forward, eager to witness the conclusion of the historic duel. The air was thick with anticipation. Princess Vyra stood tall, her violet eyes fixed on Captain Elias Kane. Though her breathing was steady, her body carried the tension of a warrior who had never been tested in quite this way before. Elias, too, stood poised, calm, focused, and unwavering. He had endured every strike, adapted to every maneuver, and proven that humans were more than just physically weaker beings. Now, all that remained was the final moment, the the strike that would decide the outcome and solidify humanity's place in the eyes of the Zetherians. Vyra moved first, as expected, her form a perfect blend of grace and precision. Each step she took carried authority, and every strike was calculated to end the duel decisively. Elias met her attacks with focus, carefully sidestepping, deflecting, and redirecting her force. His strategy was clear: tire her, study her movements, and wait for the perfect opening. "You are persistent, human," Vyra said, her tone carrying a mix of admiration and challenge. "Few beings could endure what you have. But endurance alone will not secure victory. Do you truly think you can defeat me?" Elias did not reply immediately. His gaze remained locked on hers, unwavering. "I do not intend to defeat you by endurance alone, Princess. I intend to prove that courage, intelligence, and observation can match and even surpass raw strength. That is how humans survive. That is how humans win." Vyra's lips curved into a small smile. She admired his spirit, though she was determined not to let it sway her. With a sudden burst of speed, she lunged forward, striking from a different angle than before. Her arms and legs moved in a flurry of precise, flowing attacks, designed to overwhelm him completely. Elias dodged each strike, shifting with fluid grace, never panicked, always aware. He used her momentum to his advantage, stepping lightly and redirecting her force just enough to maintain his balance. The audience watched in awe. No human had ever moved with such precision under such pressure. Even the most skeptical Zetherians were beginning to question everything they thought they knew about humanity. Vyra paused for a brief moment, analyzing him carefully. He had endured far longer than she anticipated, and his counters were intelligent, not reckless. He was not just reacting, he was predicting, adapting, and subtly controlling the flow of the duel. Her violet eyes widened with realization. This human was extraordinary. "You are remarkable," Vyra admitted softly, her voice carrying just above the hum of the energy floor. "I believed humans to be fragile, weak, incapable of true courage. Yet you endure, adapt, and respond with skill I did not expect. I underestimated you." Elias tilted his head slightly, remaining calm. "Underestimation is dangerous, Princess. Humans survive by observing, learning, and acting with precision. We endure not for glory, but because we must. Courage is our greatest weapon, and determination, our shield." Vyra's expression shifted from admiration to focus. She knew this moment was critical. One misstep could allow him to seize an opening. She lunged again. Faster. Her strikes now unpredictable, flowing like liquid energy. But Elias had learned her rhythm, her tendencies, and the subtle tells of her movements. He did not match her speed, but he did not need to. Time seemed to slow. Each strike, each dodge, each movement carried significance. The court held its collective breath. Every observer, Zetherian or human, was aware that history was unfolding before them. Humans were no longer the fragile species they had assumed. They were clever, courageous, and adaptable. Vyra's strikes became sharper, more aggressive, but with each attack, she left small openings, tiny gaps in her guard that only the most observant opponent could exploit. Elias watched closely, analyzing every movement, every angle. His mind worked faster than ever, calculating the perfect moment. Then, he saw a single opening, a fleeting gap in Vyra's stance as she prepared for another rapid strike. It was the moment he had been waiting for. When seeing 18-6, with a controlled breath, he stepped forward, precise and deliberate. Vyra struck, but he moved with perfect timing. He sidestepped slightly, and with a single, calculated motion, he tapped her shoulder with the flat of his hand, not to harm, but to demonstrate control, and precision. The impact, though subtle, disrupted her balance. The hall fell silent. Even the energy of the arena seemed to pause. Princess Vyra looked at him, her violet eyes wide with surprise and a hint of awe. The human had done it. He had demonstrated mastery not through brute force, but through intelligence, observation, and courage. You have proven your point, Vyra said, softly, almost reverently. Your species is far more capable than I imagined. I was wrong. Humans, you endure, adapt, and strike with purpose. You are worthy of respect. Elias lowered his stance, calm and unthreatening. Respect is earned through action, Princess. Humanity thrives not because we are the strongest, but because we are clever, adaptable, and brave. That is how we survive. That is how we succeed. The court erupted not in laughter, but in a mixture of astonishment and admiration. Aliens whispered among themselves, acknowledging the humans' remarkable skill. Even the elders nodded, some exchanging approving glances. Humanity had proven itself on a level that Zetherians had rarely seen. Vyra stepped closer, her expression softening. You have changed my perception, Captain Kane. I believed humans to be fragile, weak, and unworthy of true challenge. Yet here you stand, demonstrating bravery, intelligence, and skill that surpass what I expected. You have earned my respect. Elias nodded once. Thank you, Princess. Humans do not fight for arrogance or glory. We fight because survival demands it, and because courage defines us. Today, I have proven that our species is capable of greatness, not through strength alone, but through heart, mind, and will. Vyra studied him closely. Her pride, once blinding, had shifted to admiration. She realized that her initial mockery had been naive. Humans were not inferior, they were different. And their differences made them formidable in ways she had never considered. You have taught me a valuable lesson, Vyra said softly. Strength is not always physical. Courage, intelligence, and determination. These are weapons I have not fully understood until now. Your people are worthy of admiration. Elias smiled faintly, though his expression remained calm. We humans face challenges constantly, Princess. We survive because we adapt, endure, and fight when it matters most. That is how we earn respect. That is how we thrive in a galaxy that often underestimates us. The energy beneath the arena pulsed gently, almost as if acknowledging the moment. Humans had stood toe-to-toe with the most skilled warrior of the Zetherian Empire and had earned recognition not through sheer strength, but through intelligence, courage, and unwavering determination. Vyra extended her hand, a gesture of friendship and acknowledgement. Captain Kane, let this moment be remembered, not as a defeat or victory in the traditional sense, but as proof that courage and determination can rival even the mightiest strength. Your people have my respect. Elias took her hand, steady and firm, symbolizing mutual recognition. Thank you, Princess. Humans do not seek to dominate others, but we will stand proud, always ready to face the impossible. The audience erupted in applause, a mixture of Zetherian admiration and cautious celebration. The court recognized that something extraordinary had occurred. Humans, long underestimated, had proven themselves not just capable of survival, but capable of earning respect from even the proudest alien warriors. Vyra's expression was thoughtful, yet filled with newfound respect. She had learned an invaluable lesson. Never underestimate humanity. Their courage was real, their intelligence remarkable, and their determination unmatched. She would remember this duel, not as a defeat, but as a turning point, one that could change the perception of humans throughout the galaxy. Elias stepped back, remaining humble. He had achieved what he had set out to do, not to humiliate, not to dominate, but to demonstrate that humans could stand as equals among the stars. He had shown that bravery, intelligence, and endurance were as powerful as any weapon. Vyra studied him, her violet eyes softening into a rare, genuine smile. Perhaps humanity is capable of greatness that even we cannot predict, she admitted. I misjudged your species. I will not make that mistake again. Elias nodded. Humanity thrives because we endure, we adapt, and we fight when it matters. We respect those who demonstrate courage and intelligence. Princess. And we hope others will do the same. The court continued to applaud, the energy in the arena radiant with acknowledgement. Humans had proven themselves not as fragile beings, but as intelligent, brave, and adaptable warriors, capable of matching even the finest alien fighters. Vyra lowered her hand, her voice carrying across the arena. Let this duel serve as a reminder. Strength alone does not define a warrior. Bravery, intelligence, and determination. These are qualities that can challenge even the most skilled. Humanity has shown me that. Today. Elias's gaze swept across the court. He could see the respect forming in the eyes of even the most skeptical aliens. Humanity had not just survived, they had earned recognition, respect, and a place among the galaxy's worthy civilizations. The arena hummed with quiet energy as the duel concluded. Elias Kane had proven that courage, intelligence, and determination could rival strength and skill. The Zetherian princess had learned the value of respect for other species, and humanity had earned a reputation that would endure across the stars. And as Elias and Vyra stood together, side by side, looking out over the grand hall, it was clear that a new era had begun. One where humans would be recognized not for their weakness, but for their bravery, intelligence, and the indomitable will that defined them. The stars outside the palace shimmered with possibility. The galaxy had witnessed a single human prove what it meant to be truly brave. And in that moment, humanity had earned its place among the stars.